I'm about to head to the theater. I'll let you know if I enjoyed the movie. The best thing about this is He-Man was a cartoon created to sell toys, so I have zero expectations in this movie. And if I don't have fun, then I'm gonna be mad. Welcome back to Reel Blerdy, y'all. And if it's your first time here, well, you picked the right day. We're talking about Masters of the Universe. I have the power! Okay, so let me be upfront with you. I was a She-Ra kid back in the day of USA Cartoon Express. I was watching She-Ra before school. Then one day, she was just gone, and He-Man was on. I was pissed. Fast forward a few years, and it's a Friday night, which means it's movie rental night at Dito Road Video. Oh, the days of video rental weekends. I spotted a He-Man and She-Ra co-branded VHS called Secrets of the Sword. My mind was blown, okay? What do you mean they've been twins the whole time? Adora was kidnapped? Watching that tape made me retroactively less salty about losing She-Ra. And honestly, it might have been the beginning of my obsession with world building and lore. There's also the 1987 Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe, and old Dolph even got a cameo in this movie. I love catching an Easter egg as it's happening. That movie gave us what it could at the time. No Orko, no Cringer, and they spent most of the movie on Earth. We deserved better, and this remake knew that. When the movie opened with Cringer standing in for the MGM Lion, I was locked in. This movie knows its audience. From that point on, I knew I was gonna have a good time. Masters of the Universe was directed by Travis Knight and written by Chris Butler, Aaron Nee, Adam Nee, and David Callahan. Nicholas Galitzine, sorry, I listened to a video to pronounce the name correctly and then I forgot it. Anyway, he stars as Prince Adam and of course He-Man, alongside Camila Mendes of Riverdale fame as Teela, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Alison Brie as Evil Lynn, James Purefoy as King Radar, Charlotte Riley as Queen Marlena, Kristen Wiig as Roboto, Morena Baccarin as the Sorceress, Idris Elba as the Man-at-Arms or Sir Duncan, and Johansson Hawker Johannesson as Fisto. I hope I got that right. And special shout out to costume designer Richard Sale and production designer Guy Hendricks Dias for the visual world building. Those costumes look like they were lifted directly out of the cartoon, and Eternia itself was stunning. I feel like it was giving what Quantumania was trying to give. No shade, a little shade. So here's the movie as I remember it. We open in Eternos, the capital city of the planet Eternia. By the way, I had no idea that was the city's name. Also, I purchased the He-Man and She-Ra box set so that I can kind of revisit that world lore. I remember Eternia and Etheria being different dimensions, not planets. Can't wait to sort that out. If you know the answer, put it in the comments. Young Prince Adam and his friend Teela are training to become royal guards under Teela's father, Man-at-Arms, or Sir Duncan, played by the very handsome Idris Elba. Little Adam is already lamenting about being too small. He and Teela start goofing off during training, and his father, King Randor, sees it and decides to make an example of him. You know, teach him a lesson about being a man. Excuse me while my eyes roll all the way to the back of my head. While Adam is sulking and Teela tries to cheer him up, Skeletor's army attacks the city. Duncan tries to get Teela and the royal family to Castle GRAYSKULL. He sends them ahead and stays behind to fight Trapjaw. This fight establishes immediately that this movie is not playing around when it comes to action. And we're not even 10 minutes in. Trapjaw proves to be too much for Sir Duncan, and you watch this confident warrior realize he's going to lose, and that loss is going to haunt him for the next 15 years. On the way, the king stays to fight, and Teela goes back to help her father. The queen and Adam make it to Castle GRAYSKULL. The sorceress, guardian of the castle, and Queen Marlena make a decision: send Adam to Earth. He will never be found there. The sorceress entrusts him with the Sword of Power and tells him to never let it go. In the portal, he almost immediately loses it. Flash forward 15 years, adult Adam is in Oklahoma City. I wonder if he met the I've Had It ladies. Anyway, he's retelling this entire backstory on his first date with this lady. So the opening is essentially his narration without a voiceover. Is he an unreliable narrator? I like the way they did that. The woman he's with looks terrified, so she takes a fake phone call and dips, and honestly, run girl. Adam gets home and his roommate Hussein is shame watching The Notebook, quickly cutting it off when he hears the door. He does this bit a second time, but I just didn't catch the movie. Either I didn't recognize it, never seen it, or it was just moving too fast. Either way, it was the same bit, and it worked for what they were trying to tell in the movie. In Adam's bedroom, the walls are covered with sketches of the Sword of Power and Eternian characters, but mostly the sword. His boss, played by Shashir Zameda, has to fire him using full HR speak. Why, you ask? Because he was obsessively searching for swords on the clock and it freaked out his coworkers. He finds the sword at a comic shop, causes a scene wrestling it out of the grip of a statue, runs out with it, gets arrested, and on the way to jail, he gets attacked by Beastman. Teela shows up to rescue him. So a little bit backwards, when he was in the comic book store and he held up the sword making a scene, it actually set off a beacon that guided her to him instead of transforming him into the warrior and taking him home like he thought it would. So back to Eternia. Adam arrives to find Eternos in ruins. He's immediately dismissed by Eternia's warriors as a nobody. He and Teela get thrown in a cell alongside a disheveled Duncan, being held for what we call in Mississippi, public drunk. They're also with Roboto, a former combat robot reprogrammed as a servant. The four escape and pull together a team: Dane, Fisto, Ram Man, Moss Man, and Mechaneck. Fun note, those aren't their actual names. Adam made those up when he was 10. Before he was sent away, of course. He genuinely didn't know the name of his own family's warriors. You would think that like the prince would know the name of some of like the more high-level knights, but you know, that worked. Because I loved it because it was a wink to the originals while also giving us full permission to laugh at names like Fisto and Ram Man, and that Fisto gag made me chuckle every time. Every time. Skeletor's forces attack and Adam uses a sword for the first time, transforming into He-Man and defeating Trapjaw. They really wanted to make us think Adam was scrawny. They put him in all these oversized clothes, but we knew what was under that shirt. Back to the transformation. Watch Duncan in that scene. You can see him triggered when Trapjaw arrives and as things are going badly, and then you feel a kind of vicarious victory the moment Adam starts winning. Beautiful character work, Idris, but of course, we expect nothing less of you. Skeletor then reveals that Adam's parents are alive and he wants his sword as ransom. The team storms Snake Mountain. He-Man takes out Skeletor's guards solo. He and Skeletor briefly clash. A deflected blast brings the ceiling down on King Randor. That was a really hard line. King Randor does not make it. The group is captured and Adam is reunited with his mother, the Queen, and Cringer in the dungeon. Cringer is so adorable, little baby Cringer and a grown Cringer. I was like, I want a Cringer! I want a Cringer! Anyway, Skeletor can't access the sword's power himself, so Evil Lyn, his sorceress and advisor, suggests a ritual at Castle GRAYSKULL. The dynamic between Skeletor, Evil Lyn, and the henchmen is hilarious. It's giving Dr. Evil's conference room, and there's a very specific, laugh energy that belongs to King Jareth from Labyrinth.
Well, love.
It's a familiar level of sycophancy that we can see now in our modern politics in America. On to the final battle. The team escapes and heads to Turnos for the final showdown. Fisto, Ram Man, Dane, and Mechaneck hold off Skeletor's army. Duncan gets his rematch with Trapjaw and wins, but it costs us Roboto. Adam and Cringer face Skeletor while Teela takes on Evil Lyn. Skeletor manages to shatter the Sword of Power with the Havoc Staff and uses a shard to stab Adam. While dying, Skeletor gets in his head, revisiting the moments we saw in Earth, just some of the highlights anyway, twisting each one to make him feel powerless. We see Skeletor at the restaurant during Adam's date at the top of the movie. We see him as a gym bro in the scene where we also got the Dolph Lundgren cameo, and in the office looking like the boss from Office Space. The sorceress appears to Adam and tells him the power was never in the sword. It was always in him. Say the word. Adam wakes up, the sword reconstitutes, and he proceeds to beat Skeletor's bony ass. 6 months later, Queen Marlena rules Eternos. Adam is a hero. Hussein was brought to Eternia to see it all with his own eyes because he has been doubting Adam since he knew him. But he was like, that's my friend, he just kind of crazy.
You tell everyone that you're from another planet. It just makes you sound a little very crazy.
Roboto gets rebuilt, and Teela asks Adam what's the name he decides to use for the warrior. He chose He-Man, again, a name he came up with when he was 10. In the credits, Orko delivers the moral of the story. Muscles don't make the man. True heroism is compassion. Post-credits, Evil Lyn retrieves Skeletor's skull. The sequel is already calling. And the mid-credit tease, Adam's twin sister Adora, already transformed into She-Ra, preparing to enter the Fright Zone on Etheria. Was her story running concurrent to this? Is that why we barely saw the sorceress? I have questions. Let's talk about what the movie's actually doing beneath all the brawls and sword fights. Masters of the Universe is interested in masculinity, highlighting what's toxic and what it should actually look like, albeit a little heavy-handed, but it's a necessary story right now. King Randor humiliates his son in front of other kids to toughen him up. Duncan is so broken by one lost battle that he spends 15 years in the bottle. He allowed himself to lean on Adam and Teela. You can fall down, it's not weak to let people help you back up. And Hussein is watching romantic films alone and hiding the second he hears the door open. Is he ashamed of his emotions? Is he performing toughness for an audience of one? Are straight men okay? I ask with love. He-Man himself only beats Skeletor because he stops looking for power in an external object and finds it inside himself. The sword was never the point. In case you missed that message, they explain it all at the end. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. Jared Leto as Skeletor. Jared was fully committed to something here, and it worked. He's channeling a little bit of Tim Curry's Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror and Hexus from Fern Gully simultaneously, and I'm not mad about it. What I appreciated the most is Skeletor isn't a villain because something terrible happened to him. He's just evil, rotten to the core and loving it, and I miss that. Not every villain needs an origin story. Some people are just rotten. Again, look at our current administration. And for those of you who heard Jared Leto and were like, no thank you, I get it. And I said that too, but I pushed through it because I was so excited to see this movie and I wanted to support it in the theater. So you don't have to see his face, and I hate to admit it, but he did such a great job. There's something I love about a funny villain. The actor just gets to chew up all the scenery, and they played the comedy perfectly. And his supporting cast of Evil Lyn and the henchmen tied it all up with a pretty bow. Yes, they use this nostalgic IP to keep audiences comfortable and sedated, but I feel this movie is telling a story about resistance, leadership, and what it actually means to protect the people you love. It's hitting the same notes as James Gunn's Superman, hope, kindness, and the difference between strength and violence, but in a more cartoonish register, and that register is exactly right for this world. I would be doing this movie a disservice if I didn't talk about the fights. There's a sequence where He-Man rips off Trapjaw's arm cannon, throws him across the room, and uses the cannon to take out the rest of his crew. In another fight, he picks up someone and swings them like a bat to knock out a row of villains. In another, someone with spikes on their back gets thrown into the ceiling, just dangles there by the spikes. All of this could have aired on the original cartoon on a Saturday morning. That's the energy this film is operating at, and it's completely intentional. They really just allowed themselves to be a funny cartoon movie. Now, I do have some more questions. Okay, so I didn't want more time on Earth exactly, but I do want to know more about Adam's life there. How did he survive with zero documentation? Well, it helps to be white and blonde, I guess. How did the sword end up in a comic shop statue? How did this kid, appearing out of nowhere, rambling about talking tigers and skeletal wizards, manage to hold on to his kindness and wonder? Did the sorceress send him to Queen Marlena's family because she's from Earth? That is canon from the cartoon as well. These are good questions. Sequel bait, maybe? I do think there's a version of this movie that was an epic space opera. I was here for the jokes and the fun, but there were moments when I thought it could have been more. We've seen MCU and DCU projects balance the serious and comedic moments. That's not the story this creative team wanted to tell, and I'm okay with that. Also, and I say this with love, I didn't clock that Teela was Veronica from Riverdale until she made a very specific Veronica expression when they returned to Eternos. I think when they were in the cell with her dad. I think I have some form of celebrity blindness. It happens. So what was my final verdict? I went into this film hoping to have a good time, and this movie was a good time. Masters of the Universe knew exactly what it was and leaned into it without apology. Great action, a villain I didn't want to love this much, heart, non-toxic masculinity baked into the DNA, and a fisting joke that landed every single time. More of y'all need to see this movie so we can get the She-Ra film. That's it. That's my agenda, and I'm being transparent about it. I want a She-Ra movie. Period. Full stop. The end. My final grade for this movie? B+. I had a good time. I did want some more seriousness to it, but I'm happy with what we got. It was much better than 1987. Did you love Masters of the Universe or not? Let me know, because I genuinely cannot wait to hear what y'all think, especially about that She-Ra tease and where they go from here. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, watch more movies. See y'all next time.